Sooner Scoop HD.
Just want to ask, you've been a part of a lot of spring games. Heading into this weekend just as a head coach, how does that change how you what you're looking for from a spring game, and just generally how do you determine a successful spring game?
Well, I mean, first of all, we get a chance because the way college football's set up, we don't have like a preseason, and you have your inter-squad scrimmages in an empty stadium on an empty practice field. And so this is your first opportunity to really have a game simulation with a great crowd, expecting a great crowd, and just a game day type of an environment, so our guys can get out on the field, coaches can get off the field, and we can show what we can do. You learn a lot when you're put out there, and you got to make a lot of decisions on your own. You manage the game on both sides of the ball and play within the rules, and sometimes you get exposed through that game day simulation, and just find out where we are. You have a good feel going into the game where we're at, but again, this is just another opportunity for us to go out and compete in a game-like situation and see how our guys respond. But you want to see all the things that you've been demanding all spring. You want to see those things show up, how we play, how we compete, how we run on and off the field, play within the rules, doing the little things right, and, stance, alignment, assignment key, your fundamentals, protecting the football, no blown assignments, no turnovers. And on the other side of the ball, playing aggressive, playing physical, pursuing to the ball with, again, violence, and, making plays when you get an opportunity on both sides of the ball. No big play bust, and being able to, again, manage the way the coaches on both sidelines want to manage the game. And so the players being able to go out there and execute at a high level. So that kind of covers the gamut. And obviously you want to stay healthy through it. So we're going to split the squad up. Again, we're going to have a red and white team, and Dylan will play a little bit of quarterback for both sides, but otherwise we're going to split it evenly, coaches as well. And we'll name the head coaches here in another day as well, and we'll let the players know by Thursday who's on what team, and then we'll have it all juiced up on different sidelines. And I'm really excited about seeing all the former players, all the alumni. There's going to be a tremendous showing from them, and it makes this place really special. There's nowhere in college football that has the consistent alumni presence than the University of Oklahoma. And I've always known that from afar, and there's other schools that have good support, but this is uncommon, what we're about to see here this weekend. And a few guys were in there today. Tom Ward and Lane Johnson got a chance to speak to the team, woke up extra early, and got a chance to wake the boys up with some encouraging words. So that was really cool, again, for me. And then this weekend is going to be filled with that. So we'll get those guys, as many of them as want to. We'll split them up too, put them on opposite sidelines. Unfortunately, many of them can't play for us, but it'll be a great day, for us. I mean, what I challenged the fans before, and I meant every bit of it, but we have an opportunity every time we compete, and really every sport on this campus does, to create an amazing home field advantage. And you can win games that way, where you take the game over, the crowd takes the game over, and you take the life out of the opponent, and you make it hard for them to manage and communicate. You just suffocate them with energy and intensity and passion and noise, and it has a dramatic effect. And I just say that while we were at Clemson over the last decade, we had the best third down defense in all of college football over the 10 years average, and number one in a bunch of categories. But that third down defense, when they got on the field in Death Valley in Clemson, South Carolina, it was a wrap. And it was deafening, and we get an opportunity to do that each and every game. There's a reason we've won, so much here at home. One of the best home records in all of college football over the last 20 years, and the crowd has been a big part of that. But we're trying to take it to another level. We're trying to take this program from good to great, and that's a big step. And it takes a lot of intention and a lot of purpose to get that. You don't just, again, I tell the guys all the time, we're getting here ready to go to practice number 13. And so we get to show up again with purpose, and you can go through the motions all you want. Most people go through life, they just go through the motions, and they lose your way. And I want our small window that we have with these guys to be significant, and the fans have the same opportunity to make a significant impact on this program. And they do it by supporting and showing up and buying tickets and buying T-shirts and sweatshirts and flags, and being prideful in their communities, and supporting. We're not satisfied. The best of the best programs are always getting better. They're forward thinking, they're progressive, they're innovative, and they're never satisfied. And Clemson's they're going out and building a brand new first ever NIL facility. They got a brand new football facility 5 years ago, won a couple national championships, played in 4. And they're building a brand new NIL facility and 100 yards of wellness, and elite recovery, 100 yards of elite recovery. That's cryotherapy, that's infrared beds, that's hyperbaric chambers, that's the massage therapy, all the things that are great. And I say that because that's very focused on the players. And this game, what I do, I wouldn't be able to do it without the players. Former players, current players, what we do is for the players. And I told you before, my decision-making, my filter for making decisions is always about what's best for the players. Sometimes what's best for the players they don't like, but it's always about what's best for the players. So my expectation that we provide the best home field advantage in college football, that we have the best uniforms, that we have the best locker room, we have the best equipment, we have the best elite recovery, we have the best nutrition, we have the best strength and conditioning coaches, we have the best X's and O's in development, we have the best apartments, we have the best overall facility in college football. And the only way you stay there, the only way you stay there is by being progressive and innovative, hungry and never satisfied. And as a program, just like I told them this morning, we're not entitled to have a great practice today. We're not entitled to have a great team this year. We're not entitled to win. This program is not entitled to win. And again, I know Coach Switzer said, we invented championships, and I get that. And we've won more than anybody for a long time, But we're not entitled to win in the future. And you got to put the work in, and you got to put it in every day. And everybody has a part. And at every level, coaches, administrators, players, fans, supporters. And we got a lot of work to do. This campus and all these athletes, the football player's journey is no more important than the soccer player's on the women's team's journey, or the tennis player, or the baseball, or the softball, or the gymnastics. It's not. I get where a lot of revenue comes from, but that doesn't make – those are people's children. Those are kids chasing their dreams, just like every one of our football players. You have to have a genuine appreciation for everybody's role in this university. One university, one body, many parts. No one part more important than the others. And so for us, we want to do our part too. We've got a standard of excellence that we got to live up to each and every week, each and every day. When we show up to this building, the Barry Switzer Center. I'll walk past Wilkinson and Switzer and Stoops every day. That's what it looks like. And we're going to push for that every single day. And so I just expect that same thing for everybody. Just again, show up and celebrate when we beat Texas or win a championship. You show up all the time. Win, lose, or draw. That's what loyalty is all about. And so we want to be the example of that. Again, I tell the players there's failure. You have to grow an intimate relationship with failure to be your best. And you can't just love it when it's good and it's easy and it's comfortable. And that's not where the real growth happens, and you got to love all of it. And so for us as a program, us as a university, us as an athletic department, we got to love all the teams the same way. And that's my charge, man. Why can't we support every other sport like we do football? And half of them are, you can show up out there and be outside the court or the fields and it'd be for free. You can show up on the grass area and cheer them on. Our golf teams are doing outstanding. Just go down the list. It's really amazing. And that's a cool thing about Norman. It's an amazing college community. There's plenty of things to do. It's not in the middle of nowhere. You got Oklahoma City in that area. It's a beautiful area. You got Dallas an hour and a half away, and then you got Norman that's got great diversity. Got tremendous athletic teams and a very, very long history and tradition of winning at the highest level in so many sports. So everybody deserves the support. And so I'm just trying just a little bit more. We talk about 212, right? 212 is where the boiling water happens. That's how you move a locomotive. At 211, that thing's sitting completely and totally still, won't go anywhere. But it needs just one more degree, a little bit more, care a little more, work a little more, love a little more, react a little more, just a little bit more. okay? It makes a difference. And if everybody has that mindset, we'll all get where we want to go. But like I said, we're getting ready to go. Again, we're got to be great where your feet are, but we're transitioning. Our program is, and to be the best of the best, man. Then everything does matter. Everything does count. And if people looked at that as a challenge, great. That's great. But I want, we have an opportunity to again create the most hostile, environment in all of college football, and that's what we want. And that's. I'm hopeful that for our players because I know how hard they work. Man, I've been so proud of this group of guys and our coaches. The spirit of this team is, amazing. They just got something to them, a willingness to be led. They've just all have open hearts to receive criticism. Have had tremendous awareness and just total buy-in. And again, like I said, there's been plenty of guys. You had this guy sleep in, or this guy, didn't succeed on a rep. That's all part of it. But our guys have showed up every day with a great mindset and a humility that's endearing, that's allowed us to coach them really hard and take them to places that, they haven't been. And I asked them all to raise their hand. How many of y'all won a national championship? And nobody can raise a hand. And so, and who doesn't want, like, that can be a goal. We have progressively, win we got to win our first one before we win that one, right? So we got our goals sitting in front of us, but to have a kind of season that we've never had, we've got to do things that we've never done, period. And that's kind of sometimes that's a scary place to go. You can't just keep doing what you have been doing. You'll continue to get the same results. So we got to change it up. But they know that. That's what's cool for me, is to stand up in front of them every day as a leader and to get that kind of buy-in, ownership, accountability, discipline, the toughness that it takes to show up that way every day. I don't take that for granted whatsoever. And what we do is hard, and to be good is really hard, but be consistent is so much harder. To be consistent is so much harder, and we want to be the model of consistency. But we really do intentionally are trying to take this again from where we've been, good, okay, to great. And we can sit here and say, "Oh, we got all these wins," because I'm sitting here promoting all these wins since '99 or 1940, whatever it is, and all these conference championships. But right now, where I see us, we've been really good in trying to go to great, and that's a huge step. It's not that much from there to there, but it's a big step. And to me, greatness is also sustainability and, just longevity. But that's the elite of the elite of the elites. And as much as anything, it's how we do what we do. That's part of, being elite and having an expectation of success, expect to be successful. But it's also a choice, and we got to make those decisions. And so we're trying to help our guys grow up, think the right way. There's a lot of distractions out there, and so we're really trying to get them to learn the value of focus and being great where their feet are, and focus on, you learn from your past and you grow from your past wins and losses, success and failure, but it's always about how you respond. And so again, our guys have been really, really good. So really proud of the work that they've put in. We got a long way to go, a lot of work ahead of us. Going from finishing up with spring ball to the summer, first finals, and then a bunch of them are doing micro internships and doing a service trip, and then have an opportunity to come back here this summer and really get after it with the addition of some more newcomers. So.
Go right in front of you, Ryan Aber, Oklahoma.
Brent, you talked about it in the general sense with a lot of that, but specifically talking about the spring game on Saturday, why is the fan element so important to you?
Well, I think the players feed off of that. And again, if we expect to grow this program, that's part of it. The fan experience is, and I'm relationship driven. This program is relationship driven. This is not a transactional program. This is about relationships. And so touchy-feely. Having, the fans that have your back, that have some loyalty, that have an appreciation. That's my hope, is that our fans, I get this word expectation. That's fine. Okay, but I'm really looking for appreciation. But you got to earn that. We got to earn that. The coaches, the players, you got to earn appreciation. And to me, some people, they overlap those things together, and I don't really look at it like that. I think appreciation and expectations are two different things. And to me, that's what the fans being there, every seat covered, every patch of grass covered, every ticket sold. I think that shows appreciation. It's one thing to say it, and it's another thing to do it. And to me, I'm looking for doers. I'm looking for doers in that locker room, and I'm looking for doers that support this program. I can promise you, I'm going to be the first in line to do and not be a taker. I'm looking for doers. And so that's what that is, and I want to sell that, recruits and their families and our own players and their families, they notice that, they're human, they pay attention. And, passion comes from love. And so if you love the Sooners, man, be passionate about it. And you can't love and hate it, right? You love it, and you got to love all of it. You can't hate it and boo it, right? And you love it, you're passionate about it, and that's just what you have. It's an intimate relationship, man. I love my team no matter what. And again, there's a responsibility on our side of it, man, that we're committed. And in everything that we do, we represent the university the right way. Man, we chase and cover the ball the right way. We play passionate. We play relentless. We play physical. We play violent. We play for each other. And represent, again, the right way, with class, with toughness, with respect. And that's what I want people to appreciate and be thankful for.
Left side, Eric Bailey, Tulsa World.
Brent, I want to ask you just specific to the defense. How much growth have you seen from practice 1 to practice 14, 15? And then when you look at it, what is your expectation of this team? Has the foundation been set for the summer when you're not on the field, going to be on the field 20 hours a week in the fall? What are your expectations of them taking responsibility, accountability, to getting themselves better in that bridge between spring ball and fall?
I think that's critical. I've seen the improvement. It's never as good as you want it. There's still so much more improvement, but there's definitive improvement, whether it's physicality, whether it's just playing with discipline. We had a scrimmage out here a few minutes ago, and there's plays that we play with discipline, and there's plays we didn't play with discipline. And so for us as a coach, we got to be great teachers in putting those situations in front of them, get it corrected, and we're in that process. We're more consistent than what we were when we started, but not anywhere close to where we have to be by the time we get started at the beginning of the year. And then at the beginning of the year, my expectation is for us to, wherever we start against UTEP, we're going to look a lot different when we finish up the year against Oklahoma State. That's my expectation, that there's this gradual, and again, that doesn't mean it's never going to get bumpy, but we should improve. The best teams, the best units, the best players, they get better from the beginning of the year to the end. And so it's a developmental game. The more you play, the better you get. And even through, failure along the way. So we've been intentionally trying to prep our guys for what's right after, the discretionary period in May, and what our expectations are from a player-led practices and mindset in the weight room. And it's just got to be the commitment, that we're never going to be great as a program if our players aren't completely and totally committed to doing their best on and off the field. So those have got the excellence. It has to be a habit. And so that's everything counts. And so we've been really trying to foundationally get the roots of this program the right way. And that's been a work in progress, but definitive improvement there. And we've built a foundation. We got to continue to build it. We got to get that right first. And everything else, if the program is the tree, you judge a tree by its fruit. Well, that'll come in due time, but we're not ready for that yet. And so we just keep working on this foundation. And so developing leadership, developing accountability, ownership, really understanding what excellence looks like when the coaches aren't there. And we got good leadership. Our guys, again, so far, they're shaking their head. They're doing the right things. If you walked in that locker room in an hour, my expectation that thing is going to be spotless. And, it's always the little things, doing the little things the right way. And I'm taking pride. Even when nobody's watching. And again, that's how we want to be defined. So, again, I can't really answer. We'll have to see if our guys have the right kind of leadership, the right kind of maturity, the right kind of commitment. That is the expectation, but we don't take it for granted. So every coach, on this staff has had a role in trying to prep and develop these guys and prepare them for the next phase, going here into the summer and what the workouts and again, the leaders, great leaders, man, they're going to be hungry. The best of the best are hungry. The best of the best are driven. The best of the best have a Zoom focus. The best of the best are self-starters. They show up, early, they stay late, and so that's what the hope is that our guys have really bought into what we do and how we do what we do, and then they'll take the ownership when we can't do it. I think that's where programs separate. Is the true separation comes through the preparation, and it's in those lulls too, where you're outworking people, and you're making progress as a program. You're not just showing up to mandatory workouts, man. You're putting in a lot of time on your own. That's the only way you're going to be great. And we talk about all the time doing the hard, dirty work in the dark when the stands are empty. That's when we can separate from our opponent. So there's got to be real commitment, and guys got to love getting dirty. And so hopeful that'll take place. But we're going to starting on Monday. I'll meet with every guy on the team, and our coaches are doing exit meetings. They've already started those with the players, and then I'll get a chance to meet with everybody over the next few weeks. Right after the spring game and have some of those same kind of talks. And again, to me, you develop that in your locker room, but then you recruit to that, and that's why you just don't throw a big old net in the middle of the ocean and you pull it in, and that's your recruiting model. And I got a bass, I got a carp, I got a redfish, I got a tilapia, I got a catfish. You got to be intentional. You're going to go get a catfish, and you take the stink bait, and you go into, whatever river. What's a good river? Is it Missouri River, Red River? What's a river right around? Canadian River? You get one of them holes, you put the stink bait in there, and you go get a catfish if that's what you're looking for. But be intentional when you're recruiting. So if I want to find guys that are committed, they love it. They're committed. You can't throw them out of the building quick enough. These guys they love it. They're gym rats, and so. That you can't just see that off of a highlight tape or, a bio sheet on, rivals.com or whatever. So it takes a little while to figure that out. And to me, that's got to be the glue to your whole locker room. That's got to be a foundational piece to who you are. Blue collar work ethic, guys that love it, guys that are committed, and you can go right down the list. But I had three of them talk in front of the team: Dan Cody, Dusty Dvorak, and Teddy Lehman, Tom Wart, and Lane Johnson. Some dudes right there, dudes. And every one of them will tell you all the adversity they went through during their careers. And that's such a cool thing for a coach, is to be on a small part of that journey and watching them mature. Every one of them had some dark, dirty moments down in the valley, but they also had some mountaintop experiences. And really, it's all of that. It's everything in between those moments that make the journey what it is and help develop you into the men, that they become. So. But those are dudes right there that we're looking for, that kind of DNA. We get that right, and you recruit to that, and you develop the ones that are there. You create buy-in. You appeal to their voice of reason. And that's why we've created this village here, have this village mentality. I'm just one person. I can't do it alone, but I've also intentionally hired everybody in this program to take the vision of the program, to understand the values of the program, to reinforce those every single day. And that's where we got to start, and that's where we got to finish every single day. And when we do that, those things there, although I'll never take it for granted, but those things right there inherently are a lot easier. When you go on vacation, you take a week off, those things are getting taken care of. And so you just can't just snap your fingers and expect that to happen, but develop that kind of foundation, it takes time. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it takes less than others, and so we'll see where we're at. We'll see what type of buy-in, what type of commitment our guys really truly have, and we'll see if they say they're going to be about it. We're about to find out.
Thanks, Brent.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Brisbillo, Center Scoop.
Yeah, Brent, another big part of this weekend, of course, is the unveiling of the Baker Mayfield statue. What do you remember going against him in the Orange Bowl, watching his career? Have you been able to build any relationship with him?
We've seen each other. We saw each other at a UFC fight. Every time I've seen him on the field, we've played him, and I saw him somewhere else too. But I've got great respect for Baker Mayfield, man. He's tenacious competitor. He's a leader of men. He's done he plays with passion and toughness and makes people around him better. I love his story. You know, everybody sees the glory, but there's a story behind him, and of course, Sooners know that. But just an amazing story. This guy just shows up. You hear Bob Stoops tell it. I'm not sure if I'm sure you've asked him, but guy just kind of showed up. It was like, I heard this guy named Mayfield from Tech might be here today. He's Mayfield somewhere in here. It's like, you knocked him down in Walmart, you wouldn't know who he is. You know, he just looks like a jag, just a guy, right? And he's one of the best players to play the game. And you get a statue at Oklahoma, man, you're a dude. So pretty cool. But I love how he competed. You know, to me, my mindset as somebody going against you, got to cut the head off that snake. Because that cat right there, you can't, we're going to take these other guys. We got to take away Shepard or the backs. No, Mayfield's the guy. And to me, he fueled the whole entire program every single week, both sides of the ball. He had that type of charisma and toughness and leadership to him. And so, boy, what a great one. That's going to be an honor to be the fly on the wall, you know, this weekend for that.
Don Hoover, SI Sooners.
Brent, you have a push with the recruiting this week. Obviously, it's a huge weekend for you guys. What I'm wondering is, on a national scale, there's not a lot of superpower programs that have a high amount of commits at this stage of the 23 class. Is that part and parcel of catching up from COVID, evaluations? Is it part and parcel of the transfer portal changing the way you guys look at getting early recruits? How would, just in general, nationally, I saw where Clemson has 3, you guys have 4, and on and on.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of all of the things that you just said. I think because you can do official visits earlier, so many of the kids are putting off their decision. They're not waiting until December, but they're waiting for maybe more of just prior to their senior year. And they're disciplined and committed to waiting for that. For us, we want to be patient in the process. You know, the last thing we want are guys committing and then decommitting, you know, having buyer's remorse. So we want to be sure as well. I think a lot of programs are probably the same. You want to be right come December, or fast forward to next February is when you want to really be right. And so, again, I think the biggest thing is the change in the calendar from a recruiting official visit standpoint, since you can take the visits here this spring and into this early part of the summer, first few weeks into June. And that's what you're going to see. You're going to see an influx by, you know, that third week of June. Man, you're going to see commitments left and right. And then there'll be another small window in late July because it opens back up briefly before the dead period goes again in August. So that's what I think is the number one reason behind it all. And then kids, again, they've got spring sports. You know, basketball goes a little late, and then track starts up. And then trying to find time to get to a bunch of different spots unofficially, and then with the idea of, okay, I'm going to go see them once or twice, and I'm going to go back again for an official visit at some point in time here in the early part of the summer. And so people just being loyal to that process with the idea, again, early summer. Most high school coaches would say, and most families would say, and we want to get it done before our senior year, but be loyal to that time frame. And again, let's face it, traveling unofficially is not cheap. It's not easy. People have jobs and they have to go to work, and so kids are doing 7-on-7 and travel basketball and track, and just life is going on. So just getting kids on campus is an accomplishment. It's not an easy thing to do, and a lot of hard work goes into that.
Has the portal taken the urgency?
Well, I think that's a great point. You know, I think the portal, people are not in as big of a hurry to push for the commitments, and because there's a safety valve, maybe a better solution to the needs on their roster. And that's not the only way, but I do think some people are committed to being a little bit more patient because of that.
Thanks.
Yep.
Coach, I know we had the alarm delay. It's 12:05. Are you good for a couple more? Or do you
Yeah.
need to keep going?
A couple more.
Let's go to Kieran Emig, far right, Tulsa World.
What's up, Karen? You too.
Yeah.
NFL draft, this is around the corner, I wanted to ask you, where do you view that in terms of importance as far as selling recruits, and has that changed since you were here the first time around a decade ago?
Well, I think it's important that there's a history of development. That players coming from your program can be developed, that you can facilitate all of their dreams. And so having a proven track record of having guys drafted, whether it's at a position or on the team, I'll say this, to me, your team needs to be made up of a variety of players. Some of them, because the NFL is a measurable driven league. Okay, there's not many Hunter Renfros, because that guy can play. Like, it's not like, oh, he looks like that's the guy, that looks like a professor on campus and then plays like a professor and happens to make it in the NFL. No, he actually, is an amazing player that just doesn't necessarily look the part, but he had to walk onto the NFL or in college and then kind of take a back door, and then again he's done the same thing in college. But I use that just as you can still have this amazing team without having all these NFL draft picks and do a great job of getting more out of less, but they're just not going to be NFL players. But they're the best players on your team, even though these other guys might be more quote-unquote talented with their length or their speed, but they don't have the instincts, they don't have the toughness, they don't have the consistency, they don't study the playbook, they skip class, they skip practices or workouts, a lot of those other things. You can win at a really high level with a bunch of blue-collar dudes with a few generational kind of pieces too, all right? And then, but from a developmental standpoint and having a track record, I think we had 11 players at the Combine this year. This might be 14 or 15 straight years of 4+ players drafted at Oklahoma, right? Something like that. It's a great stat. I think it's 13 or 14 straight years that we've had 4+ players drafted, which might be the most in college football. And then certainly while we were at Clemson, I think we might have had the most defensive linemen drafted and a bunch of guys drafted over the last decade. And I think it just gives you credibility that, okay, you get good players, but you still got to coach them. A lot of people get good players, but you got to coach them. And for me as a coach, one of my biggest fears is that my player or my players would underachieve. And nothing more fulfilling from a X's and O coaching development standpoint than seeing your guys over-deliver, kind of like the parable of oranges, you over-deliver, whatever opportunity you have, you over-deliver, you go above and beyond. And so for a coach, that's a very pleasing place to be, is have your players play above and beyond their ability each and every week. So when you get a talented guy, that's that next challenge is, can I develop him? Can I get him to play at a really high elite level? Because that's not a given. You still have all the same intangibles, things that have nothing to do with talent, like showing up on time, study your playbook, respond the right way, have some toughness, be physical. You can be these great or know which way to go. Student body, they're doing what they call the Washington Redskins. What would they call that run? They run that counter left or counter right?
Counter tray?
What is it, student body? Huh?
Counter tray?
Yeah, counter tray, whatever. But the whole team, right? All them big hogs back in Joe Theismann days. Man, you just knew where the ball was going, right? Sometimes that's a parent taught you and I, and then the guy goes that way, goes opposite way. And, sometimes that happens. So that's kind of off subject, but so talent's only part of it. And but the development piece and getting guys prepared for the NFL, it's like I look at Bill Bedenbaugh, man, what an amazing track record this guy has. Not only of, getting some good players, but developing to play at a really high level in college, and then not only do they get a chance to go to the NFL, but they play at a really high level in the NFL. I think number one center in the NFL, Creed Humphrey, number one left tackle, was that Trent Williams in PFF ratings, and then Lane Johnson, they were number one. They were both rated number one in PFF rating. Y'all, the media, y'all should know that. You cover Oklahoma, right? But I think all three of those guys were the number one NFL players at their position in PFF ratings. What PFF, I really honestly couldn't. Pro Football Focus, see? But I don't need that focus, right? I coach in college. but I've seen the PFF thing, and that's pretty cool. So Bill's done an amazing job, and not only getting his guys to the NFL, but playing at a really elite level once they get there. So anyway, did I answer your question?
It's important, is what you're saying.
I think it's important, yeah, especially in a competitive arena that we're in, trying to compete for the best of the best recruits.
As important as it was 10 years ago, or about the same thing to recruits, NFL draft.
I think we would all agree the NFL draft has always been one of the coolest things to watch from home. I mean, for me, I'm a football junkie. I just love it, man. It's just my favorite part of it, and I certainly like to follow our own players or stuff like that. But I love watching people chase their dreams and just kind of eat your popcorn and watching them chase their dreams, and and you feel the genuine intensity and the passion in the moments and the tears, all that, the hugs. It's pretty cool. It's a very raw, non-scripted, moment. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's incredibly important from a competitive and a recruiting standpoint to know that, again, if you go there, they're going to coach you and develop you, to become the best of the best and best version of yourself.
Second row, Cliff Brunt, Associated Press.
Yeah, Coach, we've talked quite a bit about leadership. We've talked about Baker Mayfield and how you viewed him and his impact on this team. I would say that on last year's team, I'd say that maybe Caleb Kelly was a dude, the kind of guy that people will bring back 20, 30 years from now. You've been here for a short time, but you recognize what a leader is. You got some dudes here on the roster right now, some of those guys that are leaders that people are drawn towards. Who are some of those guys?
That's a great question. And I think some of them are coming into their own, like as we speak. But obviously I'm going to start with the most obvious, and that's Dylan Gabriel. And at that position, that's a no-brainer. But Marvin Mims and Theo Weiss and Drake Stoops and number 0, these guys have been showing up. Raheem's been banged up, but McCade Mator, Daniel Parker, Braden Willis, those guys have just been dudes all spring. On defense, I love the buy-in from Ethan Downs and Reggie Grimes and Jonah Lalulu. Marcus Stripling is really, man, he'll be the first to tell you, he's transforming right before our eyes. It's one of the coolest things ever. It'd be one thing you flash here and flash there. A lot of guys flash. It's easy. Have their little flash moment. How about showing up every day and changing your heart, changing how you think? You grow and mature physically, but you grow and mature, emotionally and spiritually too, and strengthen them and just give them a different set of eyes to look through and vision for the rest of their life, what they want it to look like. And I tell them all the time, you're building the life that you're going to live every day with your decisions and your choices. So be intentional about it. And don't worry about someday. You better focus on right here today. And so to see that leadership develop, right before our eyes with a guy like Strip. But everybody I've said to, you can see it like every day. They've been being about it. They're doers, not takers. They're doers. And but Jeffrey Johnson and Jordan Kelly, these guys have been showing up. Danny Stutzman, David Yu. They've been a lot of fun watching these guys. A guy like a Shane Whittier, he's really starting to grow and mature, man. He's really taken off. I'm going to make some mamas mad. But Keyshawn Lawrence and Woody Washington and Billy Bowman, these guys have, and Justin Broyles, can't forget JB, and he's a passionate guy. We had to channel all that energy and emotion and work ethic. We got to channel it all the right way, to become a disciplined, leader. And because my man will call a dude out in a minute. I say, man, instead of calling him out, call him up. Call him up, call a man up. And try that and see if you get better results. You can't expect everybody to come up here and meet me where I'm at. I can't expect these players to meet me where I'm at as a coach. Like I've been there many times, over and back. I've been there. I got to meet them where they're at, and I got to bring them. Okay, I got to bring them with me. And so that's kind of been the challenge you know, for you know, all those guys. But you know, been really, really pleased. We've had that's a great question, and one that's still work in progress. And you know, I've left plenty of guys off, but those are some guys that have really stood out from beginning, you know, to end.
You mentioned number 0, were you referring to Eric Ray?
Yeah.
I want to say him.
Yeah, EG. Yep. Yeah, Eric's been, you know, he's been a pro from the moment that we got here. And he's been the model of what it looks like. So Eric's been a great competitor, and just he makes guys around him better. He always has this positive, matter of fact quality to him. Just when he's calling somebody up, that's he's in their butt, and so it's fun to watch that happen. And if we're going to get where we want to go, it's got to be player driven. You know, coaches can demand it, and we will. We're going to demand it and coach it and teach it and foster it and nurture it. That's our job. And don't grow weary. Don't grow weary. But when it's really going to start taking root is when it's player driven, and it's got to be deep player driven, not one or two, and it's got to be deep. And that's when you know you can weather the storm. And tell them all the time, man, them storms are going to run out of rain, okay? You got to make it through it, though, man, your mindset, your attitude, and how you respond. So I've been real proud of the leadership group, and again, there's a lot more than just that.
Coach, we got to get Coach Bates in, too. You want
Okay, one more. Who's got it?
Let's go to James Hale, far side.
Hey, James.
You talked a lot about your install, defense and offense and things like that. You've got one more, well, you got 2 more practices left. Have you progressed as far as you want at this particular point? Are you where you're at in that particular regard? You talked to a lot of guys in leadership that have stepped up in things, especially on defense. What are you seeing on that side of the ball? Yeah,
I mean, you're never as far along as you want to be. You want to make sure what you do have in, that you got that foundationally, you got it down really good. That you're precise, that you're detailed. You guys really understand the ins and the outs. And so everything has its time from a maturation standpoint. And so nothing has happened as fast as you want in any phase of our program, I can promise you. And so that's another phase. I'm pleased with where we're at, but I'm not satisfied with where we're at. And we got to be able to push harder. And but you don't want to cut your nose off to spite your face, and so you just keep installing, and you're putting in 5 or 6 new concepts every single day, and then you're really below average at all of it, instead of getting really good at the foundational things that you really want to stress. And a lot of that's just fundamentals and mindset and physicality and how hard we play, the uncommon effort, doing the little things right and wrong. So we're really trying to establish those things and not try to overwhelm them with schemes and things of that nature. So it's just part of the process, starting over. And we got to get that right, and then that'll have longevity in the long run, where we can and have a foundation that can sustain, and we can add to it as we go.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep, you bet. All right. Appreciate y'all. See you this weekend.
Sooner Scoop HD.